All right, first question. How do you sleep at night? Welcome to the latest episode of Over a Pint. We are once again back at the Banff Western Connection. So I'm on beer number 8? 9? We've had a lot of beer at the conference is what I'm saying just for the show. It's a royal we.
Yeah. Okay.
So now we have Teri joining us. Why don't you introduce yourself to those who might not know you?
Okay, I am Teri Conrad. I am a Director of Broker Relations for Western Canada for Zillow Group.
Nice. Well, we drink, so this time we actually have a local beer, the Grizzly Paw Brewing Company, a Rundlestone Session Ale. So it's from Canmore.
It says the Grizzly Paw. Yeah. Okay, so what's the deal? We just
pour it.
Pour and drink.
Cheers, and we start drinking.
Cheers. Yeah. Pour and drink. Pour and cheers and drink.
Yeah.
I like these glasses.
They work out well.
Yeah. And I know there's a trick to pouring beer, but I've never been very good at it. And yeah.
So it's actually better to have a little head in it, because otherwise that happens in your stomach.
So there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, good tip.
Yeah, we talked about it on the show sometimes. So like that is a terrible pour, but it works. Cheers. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Now, do I open with a critical Zillow joke, or do I go further back?
Go straight to it.
Just go straight to it.
Why not?
All right, first question. How do you sleep at night?
It's hard. It's hard. I joined the devil, as you know, and we're out to eradicate industry, and we hate all realtors. Or I can tell you that what I really like about you know that I used to sell real estate.
Yeah. So how long ago was that?
So I held my license from 2007 until about 2012 or 13. And then in that time, I was also transitioning and doing a lot of coaching and training. And then I incorporated and had my own little coaching company called Agent Quest. And I was doing a lot of, and I also had a creative designer partner with me, and we were doing a lot of brand development. And I was doing a lot of speaking on sort of business development, brand development, and we were branding agents and all that sort of stuff. And so I went back and started contracting full time at my old company, which I won't mention which company that is. In Langley, BC, and was coaching and training full time there. Sort of more on the digital marketing side of things, because that's really my wheelhouse. I came from sort of radio background, radio marketing, and so it's sort of a full circle for me. I've been a big fan of Zillow as a company for many, many, many years. I was one of the original Inman ambassadors and was down in the States quite a bit for Connects and learning all about, the different models and how Zillow was a big part of the business in the States and continues to be. Was always really inspired by Spencer and Jay Thompson was a good friend of mine. I remember when Jay got hired with Zillow. So Jay, as you know, was a broker owner in Phoenix, still is. And he was putting his daughter through college, and he got tapped to come work for Zillow as sort of industry outreach, which I think was the missing piece. Like before they were so very, consumer focused, but they didn't really have that industry relations piece. And when Jay came in, I know like he had this huge impact. He was involved in a lot of the decision making and feedback on how the company has sort of pivoted and shifted over the years. But I remember when he joined, he said, I'm working with some of the smartest people I've ever met. I'm the dumbest person in the room. And that's kind of exactly how I feel now, 6 years later. Yeah.
Don't you work remotely?
So here's the thing.
So then you're the only one in the room.
We live in a digital age, and we're pretty connected. We do a lot of our meetings online, but I work outside of our Yaletown office in Vancouver. It's a 3-minute walk for me.
Not bad.
I'm right across the street, and so it's pretty great. But of course, we're down in Seattle for meetings. The rest of my team is Laura Gillespie is the Eastern counterpart for me I'm Western Canada, so Manitoba to the coast in Vancouver, and then Laura's everything east. So she's based out of Toronto. And then Joel Shears is our director of MLS and boards, and he's been doing a lot of the groundwork getting those negotiations done with the boards.
So how did that process start of you getting hired by Zillow? Did they reach out to you? Did you apply? How'd that work out?
Life is a funny thing. I feel like I honestly feel like all of the puzzle pieces are finally coming together, and I'm exactly where I was kind of always meant to be, even though I didn't really see around that corner. Interesting story. So Errol Samuelson is my boss's boss, and he works out of the Yaletown office with me, and I'm quite fortunate. Most of my team are pretty jealous that I get to spend that kind of quality time with Errol. He's a very smart guy. I had seen him on LinkedIn, and of course we have a million connections, and I thought, I'm just going to reach out to him and introduce myself. And he had said, come, let's have a coffee sometime. And as that was happening, the position was opening up for Canada. I didn't even know that this was coming. And Brett Calthorpe had referred me. And then it turned out that I know a bunch of people on my team. I know Scott Rowick, I knew Zach Shabbat, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this was absolutely meant. I literally was like, wow, it just lined up. It was so perfect.
That's what I feel like finally like Zillow is like everyone I talk to they hire just keeps me people that I like in the industry.
I mean, I'm not kidding. That's one of the major reasons I wanted to work for this company is everybody that they hire, and I feel really proud to say that I got hired by this company because they truly do hire amazing people. We're heart-centered. We're all good workers, great networkers, but just good people at the bottom of it. Yeah.
So was it a hard decision to go over, or were you like pretty?
No.
As soon as it opened up, I'm in.
Oh yeah, I wanted it immediately. I wasn't sure if I was going to get it, but I was definitely sure I wanted to try. I was really happy with my old company. We had a great cozy little office, a lot of really good people in my office. It was kind of hard to leave that, but it's time for growth and expansion, and this opportunity was so exciting for me. I know the industry where we are right now is just such a interesting time, and I just, I want to be a part of that.
So how is it going different for you now, like going from like in a brokerage where all the feedback's always generally pretty positive and happy to now being like half the agents are either like kind of indifferent or not, like maybe happy, and then like half are like vehemently against.
So I'm not gonna lie, I did do a little due diligence and reached out to some of my key influencers, mentors who are leaders in the industry, and just asked, like, am I crazy? Am I just gonna kill myself? And they all were like, do it, don't be ridiculous. And so, of course, I was like, right, thank you. And I'd heard, like, one of the people that I reached out to was Nelson Goulart, who had already signed. And so I'm like, okay, fine, great. I have to say, I mean, I knew I would be up against some challenges. I knew there would be some people that really didn't love it. But I figured once we, shared the message and educated that would just, slide pretty quickly over, and I wasn't prepared for the amount of fear and positioning and just the crazy myths and mistruths that are passing around. It was shocking to me.
So what are like the weirdest like myths that you've heard about Zillow?
Well, the one we always hear all the time is, well, you're taking our listings and you're selling them back to us. And well, no, we're not. We're not actually doing that. I think back to when I was a realtor, right? I used to buy a quarter-page ad for $400 in the newspaper. $400. That was significant. And those were back in the days when your house would sit for two months, right? Like that's what.
A little different.
Yeah, a little different now. But and then you'd have all these other heads around you, and the consumer could have chosen any one of us to talk to. And that was just how business was done. This is really no different than that. This is an advertising platform. I know it's a big American scary company, but they're really just some good people doing some great stuff that have had a lot of success, which is why we are where we are. And I look at it like, I knew this was imminent, that they would come here eventually. And as you know, that there's so many American companies that are now entering this space.
Redfin just announced too.
Redfin. Now that's an interesting. Redfin is an interesting model. What do you know about Redfin?
I know like what their model is like, and like I've seen like the Canadian ripoff that went bankrupt and.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what I understand about Redfin is that they're a brokerage, as you know, and they're coming in and they're going to be turning on the switch and having listings live instantly. So we're watching them very carefully, and in the States they're like number 4, I want to say, and they are heavily funded, and their model is their agents are employees, and they get bonuses based on satisfaction rates from their clients, which is very.
And isn't there a lot of like cash back and stuff?
I think there are cash back rebates as well, but what's most interesting is I think it's a $60 million don't quote me on that one. There's a lot of money spent on a advertising campaign that they just launched that's telling the consumer, hey, don't do real estate the old way. So, I mean, we are in interesting times. Yeah. Very interesting times.
So what do you feel is like the biggest threat to Zillow?
Well, Google? I mean, I like everybody else, we've had to pivot to. No. Right? Like there's not a company on the planet that hasn't got to be staying ahead of the curve and looking to see where's the market going and who's driving that. Right? So I think we're always we're always introducing new products. I will say the company is really, really good at receiving feedback from our partners. And I think that's incredibly important.
Mm-hmm. Now, have you had to, like when you look at like, people you deal with in sales and your branding company and all that, like have most of them kind of come on board and like engage with you about it? Or is there people who are now like pulling back and kind of being like, okay, you're with them now?
I did have some of that. I was really surprised by that. I mean, I like to think I have a reputation for being able to sort of look ahead a little bit and certainly make good decisions, business decisions. And I guess I was surprised that I have had that, but I also understand that it's fear-based, right? Yeah. Like people are afraid of change and they're afraid of, the big bad American corporation coming in and eradicating industry. And, and I think if we just had like a very straightforward conversation about it, that it would be quick to understand that, look, I understand the challenges too. I'm not trying to minimize that there are some actual challenges, and I get that. And some brokers are having to be very careful about, how they position in front of their agents, and I can appreciate that completely. I will always think of myself as industry, and I care very deeply about our realtors and our broker partners. I want everyone to be successful, and frankly, Zillow can't be successful if the industry is not successful. That's our entire revenue model. So we are leaning in hard on our industry relationships, and that's my role, frankly, is to be a partner and a consultant and to support and help train and answer those questions. Yeah.
How are you guys doing now from like amount of listings you're getting in Canada and like traffic to the site?
Right. Well, we've been live for 3 months, so maybe give us a minute. But we already have. So here's the lay of the land as it stands right now. We have, so like I said, Joel Shears is our director of MLS and boards, and he has been feverishly negotiating deals with boards all across the country. As you know, we have TRAB signed, we have Krebs signed, Calgary Real Estate, we have Ottawa, we have Saskatoon and Regina, we have Okanagan. We're in negotiations with multiple other boards. Vancouver, Fraser Valley are like soon. So that what we're doing is we are negotiating deals with those boards because that's where the data is the truest and best data, right? So we want to get that path created through the boards. And the agreements are such that they're creating a path for brokerages who want to opt in. So then my job is go and have those conversations with the brokers and say, here's what we're offering. Get your listings up. Promote everything for free. Promote your brokerage for free. Always free attribution. Listing agent only right now. Of course, we will be offering an advertising product down the road. That's where we make our money. But the listing agent will always be prominently displayed #1 for free. And the brokerage also is getting that free attribution. So we think there's a lot of value there.
Yeah, sounds good. Mm-hmm. And I just forgot my next question.
Might be time for a drink from here.
Do I have some? It's good. Yeah, so I do. This is why I also didn't do it live.
I like the glass, the brandy glass. I'm a brand girl, so I can appreciate that.
$100.
Nice.
For the logo, I was pretty...
He nailed it.
Yeah.
It looks just like you.
Yeah, I was super impressed. Yeah. He's done a great job. Like, gave me pit stains. Which was great.
I didn't notice that, but that's lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. I just like, I had an idea, and I was like, what if I get a guy to do that? I was like, he's like, what do you want? And I did like this is like a test. I put like $100 on Upwork. And I was like, send me bids, and, if you think it'll be more, then let me know. Like, see what we can do. He submitted this as his proposal, already done. Every other one is like, well,
Sold.
I'll draw you and do this, and like they're all just like actual proposals.
Creatives like to do a lot of iterations.
Yeah. He just sent it to me. It was black and white. That was the only.
Wow.
He's like, if you pick it, I'll just add color.
There you go.
I'm like, done. And now I've had him do like other versions.
That's what we are like. We love the like on demand, push a button magic.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Nice and easy. Yeah, he did a great job. And then
Very good.
threw it on a glass and it worked out. And I got coasters coming.
There you go.
And so normally I give one to the guest. But I didn't bring enough for Banff
They're hard to
and
pack
New York.
anyway.
Yeah, so we'll ship them out after. We'll send them to the Zillow office or something.
Nice.
And pick it up there.
Excellent.
If you want it. That's the other thing. It's swag. Not everyone wants one. So I think we're at like a 95% take rate on them.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, there's only like 2 people who didn't want them.
There you go.
So I was pretty happy with that. Like people before we had them, some people were like, because we didn't have them for the first like 6 episodes. They actually like made a point of being like, okay, you're sending me one now that you got them. So
Nice.
I was pretty happy because I didn't think anyone would want one. I'm like, it's just my face.
We love free stuff. People love free stuff.
True, and it's a nice glass.
It's a nice glass.
This is actually the biggest part was choosing the glass style.
Right.
Like, I'm very adamant. Like I want this style, and everyone like they give you all the fancy ones with the handles, and I'm like, no, this one only.
I don't like the mug one.
This is what I wanted.
Yeah, I like
and
it.
The only difference is I was hoping for the one size up, which the base didn't offer. Just doesn't fit the whole
can.
Yeah, so
Gotta
it's not
keep
a
pouring.
full technical pint. It's like a
Got it.
different kind. But doesn't matter.
Delicate.
Where was I going with my next question? Oh, I don't remember. This is good. When do you guys think you'll be launching Premier Agent?
By the end of the year
Yeah.
is the goal. And as you know, like, so we're just trying to, right now, we're just getting agreements, trying to get them up live on the site. And it is Zillow.com, not Zillow.ca yet. That may come in the future, but right now it's Zillow.com. And I mean, we're creating the value, right? We have to build the traffic first before we have a product we're selling. So that's where we are. So let me ask you a question. What would you say from a digital marketing perspective that the agents should be paying attention to in the next few years?
So I think I don't look that far ahead at that stuff, to be honest. I just take what's working now and do it better.
And so what do you do exactly?
So now we're the Facebook ad side. So like when you're looking at all the different products, like there's like in the US and North, it's not really selling leads yet here in Canada, but like you got the Zillow, Realtor.com, Google, Facebook. I think Facebook has the longest or the highest ROI long term, but you have to be really good at follow up.
Right.
Because they're the furthest out. Because you get them so cheap, you can do better. Whereas if,
right now you can get them cheap.
Well, so our costs haven't gone up. Like everyone else, like they talk about their costs going up for cost per lead. But I think what happened is so many people jumped on board that like the crappy ads that used to get results because no one else was doing it were
suddenly
working.
Falling into the...
But now all those crappy ads don't work anymore because other people are doing it. So if you're still doing it the right way, like our lead costs, some marks are going down still.
Define the right way.
So it's about like basically offering value. I mean, even like offering value is how you structure the ad, understanding like how people look. So like, because most people when they look at an ad, they don't think about the fact that 95% of Facebook's happening here, and that when they're scrolling, it's the image that gets them to stop. Then they read the headline. Then they read the text.
I think that's so crucial. We're a mobile first company as well.
Did I just lose? Oh, it's just the light. So maybe the battery died. That's okay. You don't need the light.
You don't
Still
need to
good
see
enough.
me. It's all good. But we're a mobile first company too,
Yeah.
understanding completely that everybody's doing everything on their phone, and so how is it received is so crucial.
Yeah, and like not enough people put attention to that.
Yeah.
Of like the importance of that, and like the keeping it simple. And then the following email still works really, really well.
Yep.
If you do it right. So like I talk
So
about.
because I used to train realtors all the time on digital marketing, and I mean we're on the same page on this, I think. But I'm curious to hear kind of if you were telling an agent, well, here's how you write an email that's effective.
Short, sweet. To the point. That's like I think of an email on my phone. I don't want to read 8 paragraphs about why I should hire you.
Right.
So like there's a guy named Dean Jackson who kind of like he was the original one to do it. Now a lot of people have copied him. Some give him credit, not everyone. Some people rip off his stuff on stage and don't give him credit. But it's called a 9-word email.
9-word email.
The entire email. So like we use it for a client recently. So 309 leads that were dead. Like these were leads that were older than 3 months, zero contact ever.
Right.
And she had written off.
Got it.
So we took them, we emailed them. So she worked in Barrie, Ontario. The subject line was homes in Barrie. The email said, "Are you still looking to buy a home in Barrie?" And we got 10 responses, 3 deals.
You're kidding.
And
That's
that
fabulous.
was the entire email.
Good
So,
for you.
People overcomplicate it.
So, well, I can give you a stat.
Yeah.
So we know that realtors cannot be fabulous for responding. I was probably guilty. It's not good. Like the ratio of responding to those online leads are pretty
That's
sad.
our biggest turnover.
Yeah.
Which I know you guys at a different scale.
Yes,
it's the same issue.
it is the same issue.
Agents can't convert.
Exactly.
And it's like we're trying to we created like a Just Sell Homes conversion guide for our clients. We're working on making a partnership with some coaches that when a new client comes on, they'll get some sessions with them.
Yep.
We started the membership group because there we can help answer questions a little bit more. Like everything now we're focusing on is how we'll help them convert because getting leads is easy.
Absolutely.
It's the rest that no one can do.
Well, I think that's so interesting because we talk a lot about sort of the consumer mindset, and if you think about the millennials who've grown up without, like, they've never not known internet.
Yeah.
And I love this one. This one is the, they
To be fair, millennials though now are almost like 40. Like they're like,
that's crazy to me.
Yeah,
I'm getting old. Let's not
I'm a
talk about
millennial,
that.
and I remember like when dial-up was installed in my house.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's like that, and when you understand, and we now, I mean, I can get McDonald's delivered to my door with Uber Eats.
Yeah.
Very dangerous thing to know, but I can do that. And that on-demand technology and like the consumer mentality, we know it as consumers. We know we want things right away. We know we want to push that button and have magic happen. But at the same time, we aren't responding to our consumer inquiries because they're online leads and maybe they're not great.
Just get busy and they forget. And
well, what is it that you think? Like, why are so many agents not responsive?
So like we talk to them because like we've kind of got to a point with most of our clients where they are very honest with us. Where they're like, "Oh, we just didn't make the calls. Like we're canceling. Like we didn't make the calls. It's not you got us the leads. It was just we didn't do it."
Totally.
And it's like we got busy and we were working with people who are like answering. Where it's like online leads, you have to chase a bit. Like it's not a.
Well, what do they say? It's like a 5 to 8 times touch or something.
Yeah. So I think the stat is like 80 or 90% of all contacts happen after the 6th attempt.
Got it.
So, but if you try like by the 11th, it's like 93% will have been contacted.
11th.
Yeah. So
and what's the endurance rate
I
for
think most
an agent?
are done by the 3rd.
Right.
Like it's like I know like we got a client 1,000 leads over 6 months. They didn't close a single one, but they would like max call once if they called at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it
be
is
like
tough
a
as a single agent.
Yeah.
Trying to wear all the hats, right? And I'm the advertiser, the marketer, I'm the accountant, I'm the lead
There's ways
gen.
to deal with that though too. Like we use Follow Up Boss for a lot of our clients.
I've heard that a lot.
And we just have a text that goes out. So
Nice.
like they get texted automatically, then emailed, and then the automation turns off the second the consumer responds. So then our client only has to deal with the ones who start talking to them.
Got it. Yeah.
So it's a little bit higher quality.
That's nice.
But I mean, you still gotta.
You still gotta do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's like other little tips and tricks we found to like, because we can do it differently. Like, I don't even know how Zillow would be able to like, execute this type of idea. So what we do now to identify hot leads is after they opt in, we incentivize them to pick up the phone and call. So like if it's a seller lead, for example, we'll say if you book a call with us what's on your home in the next 3 days, we're going to give you full staging on your home. We're going to send cleaners over. We're going to do this, 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 and this.
Wow.
And sometimes like one client was as high as 14% of leads opted in for that.
Isn't that great?
But
I love that.
That's a hard thing to do for like a Realtor.ca, a Zillow type, because like that has to be customized to every agent what they're willing to offer.
Right.
So that's where
that's why they need you.
Yeah, that's why we do.
Yeah.
But it's fun. But I love testing all that stuff out, but we have to look outside of the industry to find. Like I found people are doing that a lot already, but none of them were in real estate. So we were looking outside and trying to bring it in.
Interesting.
So it's fun.
Very interesting. Well, I was just here, like Richard Silver was telling me earlier today, introduced me to the founders. I'm so sorry, I can't remember. Maybe you'll remember. But they're doing a concierge sort of listings management package. And it looks, that's it, MoveSnap. And I thought, isn't that a great service?
Yeah.
So
yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
I used to run their ads though, so I'm biased.
Oh, is that right? Interesting.
Yeah, they had like a period where they didn't have someone in house. So that's what actually we find. We have a lot of clients who are like coming on short term.
Right.
But they're upfront about it, which is what we want. Like,
right.
so they'll come on like, hey, we lost our marketing person. Do it for us until we find someone.
Interesting.
So then we take it over for them short term and then hand it back.
Interesting.
They were one of the ones who did that with, so it was fun.
Very cool.
Yeah, well, they're great service. We have a lot of clients who use them. Interesting, their biggest issue is clients not just using it.
I mean, I just think this is if we all collectively as an industry can figure this out, this will be magical. We'll shift everything, right? Yeah.
That's why, especially doing this show, like I've noticed that's the big difference I see with top producers is how much they put into the client experience.
Well, I think systems and processes, it's just that sort of that company business mindset.
Yeah.
If you approach your business like that and you create it and you know exactly what to do in every situation, and there's some sort of set it, forget it, and then do all the things you have to do. Those are the people we see that tend to be the most successful. But I do think that there's I think the models are going to shift over the next few years.
So for people like right now, agents, like how could a Canadian agent now leverage Zillow since Premier Agent isn't?
Oh, well, in a million great ways, right out of the gate. So I always tell everybody, I used to train my agents in-house on making sure they had a robust LinkedIn profile. Why did that matter? Because when somebody's Googling Andrew Fragiliato, what is one of the first things that's going to come up in a Google search, right? It's going to be that LinkedIn profile just because of the magic that happens on the SEO on the back end. It's the same for Zillow. And I think it's incredibly important that realtors sort of jump on board quick, get the head. I mean, if I search you and there's that great headshot, like the Invisible Man headshot, and you have nothing going on and you haven't highlighted which areas you market in and you're an expert in, and you have no bio or anything, and there's no reviews and there's no past souls, which we don't do yet, but we will. It's a really big missed opportunity, and it's free. Right? And so why wouldn't you do that? That's one thing I'm saying right out of the gate. The other is talk to your broker. We're having conversations with people across the country. We have had a lot of interest. As much fear as there's also interest. And I think that it's, go to your broker and talk to them. If you're a little nervous about that and you want to keep it on the down low, you can go direct to Zillow. We have a function for that if you want to just get your name on a list for Premier Agent advertising. We have all kinds of things that we can do. My role is to be a support to the brokerages. We do webinars, we do trainings, we'll come and do presentation to offices, just explaining we aren't answering the tough questions. We tend to have the same questions over and over again, but I think we're dispelling a lot of the myths and settling a lot of that fear once we get into the conversation and they understand who we are.
So, because I know with the Zillow forum, there's one of the U.S. association was talking about it. So they were saying they didn't like something Zillow did, so they just shut off the tap of listings.
What?
And it was North Carolina.
Okay.
They were saying something that Zillow just, but then they got calls from the consumer, so they ended up turning it back on. But is that something?
Oh, you're talking about the Vegas one.
No, that was happening around the same time. It was North. This wasn't a recent thing. She was just talking
I see.
You guys brought her up, so she obviously came back to Zillow.
Got it.
But is that something Canadian associations have the ability who have signed up? Taking Trevor's example, if they do not agree with something, is it a quick?
Well, so all that Trev has done essentially, and any of the boards have done, is said we'll create a path. For the brokerages who want to opt in. In our contracts, we have these Broker Pro contracts, very simple 2-page contract. They're all the same for everybody. And they agree to send their listings to Zillow. It's a 30-day agreement. If you don't like it, you can turn it off again. It's really a very non-threatening agreement. Yeah.
And, I just forgot my next question.
It was a good one, though.
Give me an edit. Oh, it would have been amazing. Really grilling you on these two. What was it? Oh, damn. I love doing this show. This is why it's never live.
Well,
this happens all the time.
God bless recording.
Because I always I'm thinking the next question in my head, but I'm also trying to listen. So it gives me way more appreciation for good interviewers.
Absolutely, it's a skill. It is a skill.
Because you're trying to remember your next question, and you also want to listen in case you want to.
You want to be present and engaging. I know, I get it.
It's a balance. I'm still working on it.
That's all good.
You
get to my age and you forget everything. I'm lucky I remember my children.
Yeah, so my wife makes fun for it. I have a terrible short-term memory. But my long-term memory is amazing.
Awesome.
I'll pull up things from years ago that she said that.
Yeah.
And know it word for word. But then she'll like go take the garbage out. I'll be like, yep, I'll do that. And then 2 minutes later, I forget she even asked.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, just terrible.
Because your head is, I think it's a presence thing, I suspect. Because I think I'm that way too. If I'm very present and I'm, then I'll remember it. But if I've just sort of glanced over an email, I will, it was like, if I read it again, I'll be like, I don't remember reading that at all, but I can see that I did. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Right?
Living the dream.
Mm-hmm.
So, like for you, like when you're looking at it, what's kind of the pitch to brokers of like, because like you hear a lot of stuff of like, why? Because like we have realtor.ca here where all the listings are already there and they don't have to pay to get any leads. What's the advantage from a broker? Like I understand the advantage of the agent, more leads for them. But like a broker, what's the advantage to them to sign up?
Well, so first of all, this is where it's going.
No.
I mean, I'm sorry, but this is where it's going. So you're an innovator. You're leaning in. You're leading the charge. You're showing people that you're tech savvy and you're business forward. Like to me, you might lose a few at the front end of things, but I know it's going to level out, right? Like, and I hate to say that because maybe you won't. But I know that that's probably the bigger fear, right? Is that how's that going to affect me in the short term, and will I lose some of my people? Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I can see really is why would you not do this? You're getting free attribution. You can use it as a recruiting tool, especially if you're an early adopter. You are getting like that free market share. And we have, I mean, the stat that we use a lot is 186 million unique users per month on our site. 4 out of 5 US homes have been viewed on Zillow. I mean, this company has created multiple platforms, by the way. So I work for an umbrella company called Zillow Group, and there's all these different platforms, and we know that the consumer has different shopping experience that they want to have, which is why we have all these different. So we have Zillow Group, or Zillow.com rather. We have Trulia. We have Hot Pads. We have all kinds of different platforms, depending on how the consumer wants to shop. This is just embracing that consumer demand. It's just being where the consumer wants to go. And I personally believe, God bless Realtor.ca, I was a paying CREA member, and and I do believe it's gotten better. I do believe it's gotten better, but I truly believe that the consumer is tired of the gatekeeping, and they just want to be able to access the information as they want to access it. And every other industry is figuring that out. Even the car industry is figuring that out and coming up with new models of how to deliver. I think we just have to pivot as well. It's just the nature of how we are evolving.
Do you think Zillow will be bringing up like the iBuyer program up here eventually, or? So
the iBuyer program I know scares a lot of people, but the truth is we've had it all along. It was just not digital. I mean, there's always been the people that have said, hey, we'll buy your house off of you for cash, right? And that's always existed. We are doing iBuyer only in specific markets. We don't see it coming up here anytime soon. To be perfectly frank with you, it's just another model that we've had to pivot and adapt to, just because there are other companies doing that, partnering with industry, which by the way, that's what we do in our program. We do partner with industry and get those deals done. And these other companies are not doing that. They're cutting the realtor out of the deal. The way my company operates is insane. There's so many teams. There's no way you could ever know everybody. But we use Slack for internal comms. Anyone I want to touch, I can touch. Text.
Spencer's right there.
Spencer's right there. Not that he's responsive, obviously couldn't possibly be, but he has his own sort of Slack channel, and he'll make announcements. And we have all these core values. One of them is turn the lights on, and so he's always sharing. Here's why we did this. Here's what we're doing now. And so you're always getting to hear all of that stuff, which is so exciting to me. And you do feel very connected to your CEO, even though really it's impossible. And I always wondered how a really incredibly large corporation would operate efficiently, because to me, like, I'm a communications girl. And I'm like, obviously those communications are going to get lost with something that big. They have incorporated the systems and processes that just allow us to communicate in the most effective and quick way. So like, turn on the lights is one. Oh God, I'm going to forget them all. I'm a rookie.
So they should be fresh.
They should be. There was so much to learn. The learning curve is pretty steep. We have this Zillow Group university platform that have all these different things. You have to go in and learn about. You get to learn about your stocks. You get to learn about just how we operate and the different personas. So the company as a whole trains every single person in the company to understand that, we're talking to Bob the buyer.
No.
Oh God, I hope it's Bob. Might not be Bob, but each Alan and oh God, I'm forgetting them all. This is not good. Don't tell my boss. But
it's not on camera.
That's good. But the point is they have all these different personas, and you understand who you're talking to. Like, and we all use those names as a way to know. Like, so when we're talking about building something, it's like, well, what's that going to be like for her? What's that going to be like for him? And so we're all on this anyway. It's just like, it really is inspiring to me. Like, I think it's an amazing company.
So you're, especially because you have a background in marketing and training and all that.
Yes.
Do you ever feel like you want to get involved on that side of Zillow?
I feel like I am kind of still. I do. I sort of, I don't even know how to say it, but basically I do some marketing. Essentially, I'm still working, like we're tweaking our Canadian landing page right now. And so I'm helping sort of drive that. I'm sort of team lead on that one, even though we have very, very capable, well, more capable than I on that side, but they need sort of the Canadian nuances. And so I'm part of that.
That's why I had a show with Box Brownie guys. And then they're looking at the differences in North America.
Right.
So they told me the first ad they ever ran in North America said, we will, like, do you have a vacant listing? We'll add homely furniture to the listing.
Fabulous. Except
homely in Australia means beautiful.
Oh.
Here, it's the exact opposite.
Yes.
So apparently, like,
that's what I was thinking. I was like, that's not catchy.
So, but every response to the ad was like, you need to fire your marketing guy.
Right.
But it's like they just didn't understand. Or the funny one, my favorite one with Australians, which is not real estate related, is they come to Canada and see roots. You know what that is in Australia?
What?
Roots means sex.
Oh.
And like having sex, and then you think about Canada, it's roots with a beaver.
Oh God.
So they didn't believe me.
Oh my God, that's hysterical.
Yeah, there's like those fun little differences that, or like even like we've noticed that going like with American clients, there's a lot of little differences here and there.
There are quite a few. And it's funny. I never anticipated this, but there have been some knickers in a knot over just little things like zip code versus postal code, right? Which is kind of a big deal.
So, made me think of something. Will you charge Canadian agents in U.S. or Canadian dollars?
It would be Canadian dollars. We are incorporated as a Canadian company. Yeah. I work for the Canadian arm of the U.S. company. Mm-hmm. So we've been established in BC in our Vancouver office for well over 3 years. Yeah. We acquired a company called Retsley, which is now Bridge Interactive, and that's our input, our listing input, and our API. Yeah. And so that's like in my office. We have a lot of those bridge engineers, cute bunch of nerds. I love them. Yeah. They're awesome. Yeah. Yeah,
because that's always like the annoying thing with companies that sell to Canadian agents from the U.S. is they're all charging in U.S. dollars.
So true.
And it hurts.
when I shop online, big mistake.
Yeah, you always go to
that's a good sale. Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, I did one like that where I didn't realize. I thought it was in Canadian. And
I've done it.
Through my credit card, and I was like, oh, there's that 40% bonus.
Didn't save that much money.
That's my bad.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So you're charging in Canadian. Mm-hmm. So
I think.
Do you think?
I'm pretty sure.
We'll put a little asterisk on that. It might not be your final decision.
I mean, yeah. I'm very sure. But.
Yeah. So, like, Canada has a pretty big, like, you've seen, like, with, like, Target, like, big American companies coming, and then just...
That's so funny. Target came up earlier today. Here's my thing about Target. Target wasn't the American Target. It would have worked if it was the American Target. Frankly, I'd have shopped there. What it was Zellers.
No.
All over again. They just rebranded it. And it was the exact same Zellers experience, which is why it tanked.
Well, like, even other, like, Krispy Kreme tried it and they had to leave, too. Like, what's Zillow kind of, like, doing to ensure that, like, it's a success in Canada versus, like, all the other American companies who have come up and retreated a year later? Or do you know?
That's a really interesting question. I mean, I just don't see it, frankly. Yeah. But, I mean, I don't know why Krispy Kreme didn't work. Maybe because we're healthier up here? I mean, I
too busy with poutine.
The poutine. Oh, we had that poutine conversation. I think that it's look, Zillow in my mind and you don't have to agree with me, right? Like, we're not shoving anything down anyone's throat. We really are an opt-in.
Food and drinks.
Well, yeah, besides that, of course. But we really are an opt-in company. We believe in what we're doing. We really do believe that we're serving the consumer in the best possible way. We're more than just for sale listings. We are everything, really. We're that marketplace of everything. So, by the way, we are going to be introducing rentals to our site here pretty quick, and also new construction. Of course, you know about the Zestimate, which in the States was what launched
when that's
Zillow.
coming here?
Well, hopefully this year, or I think maybe even Q1. So right away, and so when they launched, FYI, it was they launched it day one. They crashed the servers, so we knew we had something, right? People want to know what their home is worth, and even if it's completely way off. And back in the day, it was about a 12% error rate, and we've reduced that down because we have like so many multiple data points now. It's down to a 4% error rate, which is pretty great. And it drives a lot of traffic to our site. And so, we'll be definitely launching that very soon.
Does Zillow offer anything in the terms of like seller lead generation? Because like, especially in like hot markets like Vancouver, a buyer lead is not worth nearly as much as a seller lead.
Right. So part of the challenge is like, so here's the thing. As a listing realtor, it's a free, you never ever have to pay a dime, right? Like, and that's how it is right now, and that's how it will be moving forward. Even when we launch our advertising product, you as the listing realtor still have that free attribution, that free listing. Brokerage has that free attribution, free marketing. So, whatever leads that come off of that, which, I think it's going to be pretty good. The challenges are, of course, in BC, we have new rules where you're not supposed to lend. And I know it's getting a little more complicated, and how we navigate that, we're not really sure yet. But of course, and we're so compliant, right? Like board to board, whatever the rules and the regs are, of course, we work with that.
I know, like, because of just even talking to agents in Canada now who like started looking at listings, like mistakes happen, which I'm not like saying they're bad, like mistakes happen when you roll out tech. Like, where should they be going to get those fixed? Okay.
So we have several support channels that we've built specifically for Canada. We have Agent Care Canada at Zillow.com. We have a broker support channel specifically for brokers. We have a listing technical channel specifically for an agent who the listing just didn't show up properly for whatever reason. And of course, with tech, there's always something that we know that our team is pretty fast to jump on things. But I will say that this is a big reason why we're going to the board. So we're not taking the DDF. We would prefer not to take the DDF, and we don't have that agreement in place. But to be frank, there's a lag with that feed, and we want it. We know at the board, it's like the purest form of that data, and it's getting up really fast, and we're constantly pulling any updates. So if you post your open house for tomorrow on Friday night, and your open house is Saturday, it'll show up, whereas we're waiting for the DDF, it might show up Monday. So that's probably an exaggeration. I'm not sure how long it takes, but I know it's not quick.
They've cut it down significantly now.
Have they?
I think it's a couple hours now normally.
Okay.
Yeah. It used to be, I think, like it pulled once a day.
That's what I thought. I was under the impression it pulled 24 hours.
It was. That was back when I was selling. But now I know I don't know if it's as much as 1 or 2 hours, but at least at one point it got down to 6 hours.
Okay.
But I'm not sure where.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not great.
No.
And we also want like as many fields as possible, right? Like as the deeper the data can go, the better the experience is. And like one of our Bridge Interactive product, obviously, we can upload like as many pictures as you want, and video and all kinds of stuff. So it's like a way better experience for the consumer. It's better for the agent. Your stuff is up quicker. We know that first 48 hours when you first list is so crucial to selling that property for a higher dollar. So
have you found a lot of agents in Canada creating profiles yet?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do we have a lot of work ahead of us? Absolutely. Of course we do. Like I said, we just launched 3 months ago.
No.
There's a lot of fear and I feel like there's a lot of wait and see going on right now, but I think it's a lot of that is based around a lot of misinformation. So our job is just having the conversations and sort of dispelling some of those myths and allaying those fears and promptly,
You're on the road a lot.
we will be on the road a lot, having a lot of the same conversations over and over, but we're happy to do that. And we want to, and if anybody wants us to come and talk to them, please reach out. We'll come and talk to you.
So what's like the next conference you're going to?
Well, actually, I'll be at a Krebs event here next week. Laura and Joel's with me. Laura and TG, my boss, are going to be at Connect in New York City with you. You'll see them there.
Yeah.
So we always, every event, we're around.
Making the rounds.
Making our move, yeah.
I know that life.
Yeah.
So what do you like the most about switching from being an agent, supporting agents, to selling to agents?
I don't think of myself as a salesperson. I think like my name, my title is broker engagement, and that's how I see the job. Like I love that, right? Like that's what I want to do. I want to support my agents and my brokers. I want to be a partner and really help them be successful. That's sort of the whole goal, and that I can wrap my head around, right? Like I can get excited about that. I don't think we're selling. Of course we are, but really to me, it's just like I used to tell my agents who were selling to their clients, which is, it's an invitation. Like if you take it and you turn it around, and it's like, look, we have something we think is gonna be great for you, and we'll work with you to make it really successful for you. Come work with us.